Good evening, everyone. It is April 12th, 2023. Now, we did have our CPI come out pre-market and the 10-year and FOMC minutes, so we did have a nice and volatile session. What did we get? Well, what I was looking for pre-market, and I posted it to Twitter, whatever, if you want to look at it there. I was looking for us to get a sell in the 4170s, and on NQ, I was looking at 230, 230s, 231 to be specific was my spot, and that's what we got. The ES high came in around 77ish or so, and once we got below that 70 number, just like I've been mentioning in the plan for a while now, right over here. I've been mentioning for a while that I wanted to see a 75 tag, then get short 70. If we go down to a 1 minute or something like that, you can see that worked really well. We tagged 75, and then once we got below, that 70 was great resistance, and we just sold off down below. Now we ended up opening above that 55-ish area. We churned around there for a little bit, but to me, given that we held that 70 number so well and 230 on the NQ, to me, buyers hadn't really done anything. We've just had this constant short covering, no real bids, and I'll get into that in a second. No real bids, and it's just selling, covering, selling, covering, selling, covering. Now, that is what we had. Once we got below 55s, I took this short, where would it have been? Right around 936 or 935, something like that. Anyway, or sorry, I think it was here. We got that short, and it sold down right down to that quarterly high at 41.41 from whatever it was, the beginning of April. I think I might need a 5-minute chart here. Yeah, there we go. That quarterly high at 41.41 on the 4 p.m. close. So we sold down right to there, came back up, got that covering. Once again, failed to breach that kind of 55-ish area, and that's when we got our main sell downwards, getting to the weekly point of control where we had yesterday's close, Monday's close, a bunch of other crap was around there. I cannot recall at this time. And then we continued our sell down into the lows, broke yesterday's low of the day, and got into this kind of 21 spot that we've had for a while. Just this, it's been a nice pivoty area, and it corresponds to the start of that Friday ramp where we had some key resistance show up. So once we had that, it was just a ruthless short cover, non-stop covering, and you could see the cumulative delta. If I can pull this up here on another chart, let me see if I can get that up. The CVD, it did not show any. Trying to pull this up here. The CVD did not. It did not really move anywhere with that ramp. You can see if this loads. We got down quite negative, something like negative 80, negative 70,000, and this was all just covering. Look, we never even breached the zero line as we continued to ramp. It just covering. Had that, I think we had that 10-year data come out right around 1 o'clock, ramped up a little bit more, unable to break the highs, and then back down once again for a sell into the close, reaching that Monday VWAP close at 41.16, and now trading around there as well. So to me, no productive moves by buyers during this session. And that's why I mentioned just zero confidence of bulls. We had that Monday, Tuesday inside last week's range. Wednesday gave us the breakout that I was looking for, and I'd mentioned that I was looking for a breakout above 55. So we got it, failed to hold it whatsoever, and now we've come down near the lows of this balance. Now, we have tested that balance 3 times. This is going to be the 4th test of that balance, and I just do not have faith in it. So what I'll be looking for is exactly what I wrote before. I'm looking for either a quick look below and fail at around 40.82, so we come down, tag 40.82s, get back over 4100, and we can start getting some lift. That is the one scenario, or we stay offered at 4100, or even don't even catch a bid at 82s, and we can start making our way down towards 54, where we had that Thursday overnight ramp start to begin, and that corresponds also with one of the weekly VWAP closes, not last week's, but the week prior, I believe, if I've got this right in my head. It's been a while. Yeah, 2 weeks. So anyway, after we hit that 4170s, I'd mentioned that 4080s were my downside target, that 4082 spot. So it looks like we're headed towards there. We'll see what we get. So how am I looking to actually trade this? Let's go over to this chart over here. Sorry if I'm a little bit scatterbrained. I'm running on quite a minimal amount of sleep. So what am I looking for? I want to be short 99s before we tag 82s. The idea being that we'll be breaking all these lows, so I want to be short 99s for a move into that 82s before we get there. I will be taking 88s long after a tag of 82s or 82s long after a tag of 80s. There is a tiny little gap here, and that's what that is corresponding to. So if we tag 82s, hold that monthly 95% value area high, come back above 88, so come back into this Friday range, then I'll look for us to start moving up towards that 40.99, and I might even write before 40, what is that weekly low, 96, before 40.96 tag. So that might be important as well, and I'm just going to make sure that is on here, 40.96 tag, and I want to make sure that is on my execution chart, and I do not forget that. Here we go. Now, above there, I want to be short 41.20s in the event that we gap down. The idea being that we closed, the 4 p.m. close was far off of the VWAP close, so I do think longs are offside. Once again, anyone who was long got liquidated into the close, and I think anyone who remained long is trapped there, so I'll be looking for a short at 20s. Now, this number may change. This might end up being 32s, 32.75. It's either going to be 28s or 32s. Not too sure here, and I hope I get some sort of clarity from the overnight. But right now I'm looking to be short 28s. That's going to be our settlement lows. That's going to be around last week's VWAP close, current VWAP, current monthly VWAP, I think, as well. The last week's halfback, last week's POC, the quarterly, what is that? The quarterly open or the quarterly close? Yeah, the quarterly open at 32 halves, and just kind of a critical level in general. So I'll be looking to be short there. Above there, getting short at settlement highs after we run this kind of double top thing, whatever it was, or sorry, a triple top on the 30-minute chart to the tick. So if you want to talk about poor high, that's a double poor high there. So I want to see a run of those stops, come back inside 51s, and then take it short. And above there, nothing really changing. Looking for a tag of 75 and then getting short 70s. However, I doubt that will play. What I'm really looking for is for us to stay below 28s, get either those 80s long opportunities, or take 65s, 54s, or 41s long. Let's move over to the NQ here. Now, the NQ, same thing that I'd mentioned. I was looking at 13,100 as a pivot, and it looks like it's finally shown itself to be that after looking pretty ugly during the start of the week. Same idea as looking for a tight trade Monday and Tuesday and breaking it on Wednesday, and we came up exactly to the spot I was looking for sellers to stop in. I'd mentioned it on the daily plan, those at 13,231, and now I'm looking for us to get down to 909, and looks like we're just about there, only about 20 points shy or so. So that is remaining my pivot. Now, interestingly enough, before we get into that, if we lose 909, I'm looking for the gap close at 777. That is the range gap close from the March 28th high. Below there, I will only be looking to get long the price close, which is lower down around 732.5. If we hold that, I think we have an opportunity to get back over 13,000. That number sort of corresponds to that kind of 4,009 to 4,050 area on the ES. Now, I want to note that we have developed a point of control on the week around 13,075. Just trying to check this on this chart over here. Yes, 13,077. That corresponds with this earlier March high as well. So we've kind of chopped around it and decided to make a point of control here. I want to quickly check, where is our monthly point of control? I believe it's at the same spot there. At 77, yes. So our monthly point of control coming in at 77. I believe that's also where we had weekly. Yes, that's also roughly where we had last week's value area low. So not only is it the high of the of sort of the early part of the month, it's the high of where we have the majority of the high of the month, and it's also last week's value area low. So I will be taking 75 short, and in general, that area has been really awesome, as you can just tell on this 2-hour chart. Is taking 75s for a short, and that is where we had a nice sell-off into the close. Below there, taking 13,012 short, perhaps clearer on a 30-minute chart. It's been a critical level, and that does represent our 95% value area low from last week, as well as just another really nice level in general. And then below there, taking the aggressive shorts of 958.5 short. That is just the price gap close. Same idea as on ES, is that these players are offside, these longs are offside, and taking that short. Now, I will be taking 909s long if we do have a gap open here, and I will be taking it before that gap closes. If we do not have a gap, or if that gap is closed, if we open down here, close the gap, come back below, I will be short 909s, with the thought being that we will get a move into that gap close around 777. I will only be taking 730s long, which, I kind of doubt that's going to occur, given that's another 1.6%. Perhaps it might occur. But that's all I'm really looking for on the NQ. Long 732s, likely just a short at 909s, short 958s, short 12s, short 75s. Above there, not too interested in playing until we get way back up to the overnight high sort of area at 231, and I'll be taking that short after a run of the overnight high. So 11-minute video. Hard to get 2 tickers done in under 10 minutes. I am short biased, if you couldn't tell. I am short biased for at least 909, ideally 7077 on the NQ. And I am short biased on ES, at least for 82s, but really I want to see us getting into those 4054s by Friday. So hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. We do have PPI tomorrow pre-market, so there may be an update to this. We may have some volatility, but after last night or today's wild session, I'm not sure we'll have too much movement. But anyway, updates to this will be posted pre-market to Twitter. Hope that helps and trade safe. Have a great night.